Hey there, this is my video. I got Knight on every single hero, except for the new guys. They kind of launched and ruined that idea, but I'll do that later. Um, let me get started real quick. I'm gonna start with the guys who are actually really easy, and I'll tell you why. So let's look at Black Panther. He's actually super easy to lord. You probably see tons of these guys. And you're like, ooh, scary. But honestly, let's break it down. So hero usage time, that's the same for everybody. Deal damage does change on all the duelists. 20,000 is not a lot compared to 25,000 or 28,000, and then that's a pretty low amount of final hits. And then here's the kicker: use Spirit Rend. Black Panther does this anyway. He'll do this like he could probably get 70 in a match easy. Okay, so like you just shift around and then you become a lord. It's not so hard. I'm gonna say I'm actually gonna save healers for themselves later. So I'm sure all the healers are debating each other or not. They probably all have 3 lords each. So Widow, I don't think is that hard. Like that's a pretty small amount of critical KOs, like headshots. That's a small amount. 15,000 is nothing. So I'm gonna put her in like easy medium. Okay. Tanks. I'll just get this out of the way. All the tanks are the exact same. Like they're all usage time, damage block, slow, like low amount of KOs, and then it's always something they have to do anyway. Like if you look at Cap, it's just give health with his ultimate, and then a low amount of KOs, and then Strange, the block amount goes up, and it's like release a small amount of souls with I. That's the same. Groot, look at this. Put walls up and block like a ton of damage accidentally. Small amount of KOs. Tanks are all like easy to medium. They all fit in the same category. Even Penny. Let's go with Hawkeye. Hawkeye, I'm actually gonna say is top 3 hardest because that's a decent amount of damage, and then this hypersonic arrow, you don't always go for it, and it's a high CD cooldown. That's a pretty high amount, and when you're just like shooting away trying to get like individual kills, you don't really use hypersonic arrow. You could do a whole match and forget to use hypersonic arrow. So I'm gonna say like he's like second hardest maybe, and then just for like viewers' sake, I'm gonna show you my top 3 hardest. It's actually Iron Fist number 1 because everyone will tell you to get off Iron Fist. I took him to Knight, and people just told me to get off Iron Fist all the time. I wasn't very good. He's really fun when you actually get a good round, but it's pretty rare. He's definitely difficult. So anyone who has Lord Iron Fist, like you probably have thick skin. And this is a high amount of blocking with Dragon's defense. His parry, the one that makes the bell noise, like that's a lot. You usually block like 200 or nothing. Sometimes you wouldn't even block, but I'm not very good at him. So yeah, one of the hardest. And then the last hardest I would say is actually, like, believe it or not, Squirrel Girl, because that's a high amount of damage, and then you have to hit your right click a lot, which, hey, you could have a match where like nobody gets hit by your snare, and it's like not a small amount of snares. So like she's like third highest requirement, still pretty easy because hey, it's Squirrel Girl. So like yeah, everyone else, like let me just break down who's easy. Human Torch, dude, he just pumps damage out. I've seen this damage thing reset 3 times. You create fields by accident, and that's a small amount of final hit, so Human Torch not too hard. Iron Man, I'm gonna put him in medium because you have to directly hit those projectiles he throws, and that's not a high amount of damage for how much damage he does. So medium. Hela, I'm gonna put her like medium because the number requirements are high. Like Hela still pumps damage, but this is the highest amount you could be required as a knight. That's not a small amount of final hits, and that's a pretty high amount of stuns per round. So yeah. Then let's go with magic. Medium. You just gain health accidentally. That's kind of a high amount, and these require. I'm a captain, you see. I'm just gonna put her at medium. You still climb easy. Fantastic. He requires a lot of damage, but this just does itself. That's a high number, so I can put him like medium hard. Like maybe top 5 or something. I'm just making these up. Moon Knight, bounces, like these just do themselves. It's easy, small amount of final hits, and then medium damage. He's easy. I'm gonna put him in easy. That's a small amount of requirements for like what he really does. You see these guys all the time, and they're just Lord Moon Knights, and they're normal. Namor, his bottom one does itself. Let's just put him in like medium. Psylocke, easy. You see these guys, and they're like pretending to be really cool. Don't kill me if you see me, guys who I say this to, but you just press E to go invisible and this just racks itself up. Which, surprisingly medium. I don't think she does tons of damage every game. Like, when it's her game, she wrecks everybody, but, I mean, sometimes her role is just to kill divers, and that's it. Spider-Man, I'm gonna put him in medium. You see these guys all the time. Like, I will say, like, they're definitely one-trick ponies, because the amount of times I needed to switch, but kinda didn't, just to get Knight in one day. Yeah, Triggered Tracer, like, yeah, the number of requirements are a little high. That's 15,000, he's still medium. And let's see, Star-Lord, medium. Like, this is actually a really high amount of, like, magazine shifts, but you do tons of damage, so it's okay. Storm, I almost want to put her at easy, because, like, you just stack the E a lot, and you do tons of damage anyway, and you're amazing. But, like, surprisingly, you don't see a lot of Storm. You don't see a lot of Storm Lords. Maybe it's because they're banned all the time. Punisher, surprisingly medium. Excuse me. Surprisingly medium. Envelop enemies with Scourge Grenade. You don't do that all the time, and you pump damage, so whatever. Bucky, medium, because that's a low amount of damage for like what he could do. That's a low amount of final hits for a dude who literally like craves final hits, and like Hook is a little hard. Like, maybe leaning towards hard, but you still see a fair amount of these guys, so whatever. Wolverine, medium to easy. It's low, doesn't matter. So anyway, juicy part you've been waiting for. Who are the hardest healers? So like, number one, they're all easy. But Adam Warlock, you have to revive dudes, and like that's still kind of a small amount, but like you only get so many ultimates. Sometimes it's correct to res 1 or 2 guys. Yeah, he goes in the medium category when like the people who have like these healing requirements, their ultimates count. Like, it's ridiculous. Terra Cape, that's like, for a captain, that's a pretty small amount of Terra Cape hits. And the other hardest healer would probably be Mantis, just because, like, look at this KO requirement at captain. Like, Cloaks was like 60. Okay, and like, that's still a small amount of like spores, but that's a 15-second cooldown. And yeah, everyone else like kind of easy. So like Refresher, like I'd say like the most respectable, quote unquote, it's still just playing 20 hours. Hawkeye and Iron Fist, like, you guys are the man. You're really dedicated to your hero. Like, surprisingly, you don't see a lot of Hawkeyes. It is like, when you see it, you're like, whoa, really? And then, hey, it's just Lord. Nothing really happens. Like, it's not actually that crazy that anyone's a Lord. So I hope that was like quick and easy for you. Tell me your own opinions.